Just imagine a young couple, full of dreams, starting to build a life together. But suddenly the husband completely changes his posture and releases a bomb. Your salary becomes mine. My mothers will raise their children, and their role just work. Words that sounded like a stab in the middle of the night. And to make matters worse, the mother-in-law was already settling in the house with the arrogance of the queen, ready to take control of everything. This story, which looks like a soap opera script, is real and will let you jaw drop. Ties did not imagine that his life would become such a fast nightmare. Just a year ago, everything was happiness, a new finance department, a loving husband named Estevao, and the most anticipated news of pregnancy. After so much waiting, the future shone like a summer sun. But the first warning signs began when Estevao came home late, often after midnight, smelling of expensive perfume and alcohol. When she asked, the answer was always the same: work meetings, love. You know I'm doing it for us. The pregnancy was not easy. Ties fought a relentless nausea that did not give a truce even in the fifth month. The doctor was exhaustive. Absolute rest. Stephen's reaction, an unexpected ice. And how are we going to pay the homework? Couldn't you have endured some more? Ties was paralyzed. To hold on, as if she had control over her own body. Estevao, I didn't choose to get sick. He tried to explain, but he just grunted and didn't even look at her. That night, he didn't return home. It disappeared for 2 days, as if nothing had happened. Ty swallowed the cry, thinking of the children, but something inside her broke forever. The fuse came when the ultrasound revealed a surprise. It wasn't one, but two babies. Instead of joy, Estevao's face writhed in panic. How will we support two? Ties, even with a tight heart, tried to calm him. Together, let's find a way. But from there, he disappeared even more. Until, one night, when she was already in the seventh month, Estevao came home early and not alone. Died at the door. A robust woman, about 60 years old, with red hair stuck in a rigid bun, heavy makeup, gold and jewelry that were taking with each movement. Mom came to help, Estevao announced, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Ties, this is Nino Arkadievna. Ties, confused, reached out with a forced smile. Nice to meet you. But we hadn't combined anything. Combining what? Cut the mother-in-law, looking around with disdain. Are you about to have twins? Will you realize? Of course not. I'm retired, free like the wind. I will live with you and take care of the children. Ties felt the floor disappear. Share a two-bedroom apartment with a mother-in-law. Stephen, can I talk to you a minute? Will your mother live with us? Why haven't you consult? Consult what? He repeated, with the same indifference as his mother. You are pregnant. There will be two children. Who will help? My mother could come. Ties argued. She lives in an hour from here. Stephen wrinkled his nose. Your mother is barely supported. What can she do? She could at least visit. Help, Ties. He raised his voice. This is already decided. My mother sold her apartment in Samara. There's nowhere to go. What? Ties almost passed out. And now she lives with us. Final point. The next 2 weeks were hell. Nino Arkadievna wasted no time. He took over the house as a campaign general, changed the furniture in place, threw away the curtains that Ties had chosen with such affection, replacing them with a bright red. The kitchen became exclusive to her mother-in-law's territory, which only prepared what Estevao liked, completely ignoring the restrictions of Ties. Nino, I can't eat spicy, Ties recalled, with a trembling voice. Silly, I created 5 Fane-restricted hers and everyone was born healthy. Estevao was also boring when he was little, but surpassed. Ties wanted to scream that pregnancy was not freshness, that she was at risk of premature birth, but silent. For her children, by the family. Until the final blow came. Upon returning from a medical appointment, Ties caught Estevao and his mother leaning over papers in the room, discussing something with air of conspirators. Seeing her, Stephen frowned, but forced a fake smile. Ties, how was it the doctor? Okay, everything, she answered, approaching the table. What are you doing? Nino Arkadievna quickly joined the papers, but not before Ties noticed that they were financial documents. Stephen, what's going on? The mood was so heavy that you could cut with a knife. Sit here. He pointed to the couch. With a tone that did not admit refusal. Ties obeyed, putting his hands on his huge belly, as protected his children from what was to come. Stephen cleared throat. Well, the situation is as follows. 2 children are a huge responsibility. Provision, accounts, food, clothing. You won't be able to work in the coming years. I plan to go back in a year and a half. Ties tried to argue. Impossible, courted Estevao. With twins, forget it. He straightened, as if to give a verdict. My mother and I have argued and we came to a solution. You will deliver your salary to me. My mother will raise the children. Your role is to work. Ties thought he had heard wrong. Like this? You heard right. said Nino Arkadievna, already accommodated in the Thai's armchair like a throne. My son and I will manage the finances and take care of the children. You will play the family. All very logical. Logical. Thais felt the anger boil. And your work, Stephen, your salary? He exchanged a look with his mother. Well, I decided to change area. For now, I won't have fixed income. What? Thais jumped from the couch. Have you resigned now when babies are about to be born? He found an amazing opportunity, said Ninel Arkadievna. A business with friends. In a year or two, we'll be swimming in cash. What business? Thais felt his stomach turn around. You never said that. Because you always panic, said Esteval, annoyed. It's already starting with drama. I'm not doing drama. Thais tried to keep calm, breathing deep. I'm trying to understand. You dropped your job, brought your mother to live with us without warning, and now they decide how I should live. We are a family, said Ninel Arkadievna with the air of superiority. In the family, decisions are made together. Together? Thais laughed bitterly. No one asked me anything. Because you are pregnant and emotional, you are not able to make rational decisions. Esteval cut, with a disdain that hurt more than any word. It was at this moment that Thais felt a sharp pain in the base, so sudden and violent that he stole his breath. She arched, bending over the sofa, her fingers stuck in the upholstery like claws. What it was. Stephen jumped out of his chair, fear finally erasing arrogance into his eyes. I think they are contractions, Thais whispered, the trembling voice between the clenched teeth. Call an ambulance. Already too soon. Ninel Arkadievna lifted her hands, as if she could stop the inevitable. There are 3 weeks left. With twins, it is common to have false contractions. Call the ambulance. The scream of Thais cut the air, loaded with an urgency that left no room for discussions. She breathed in short sobs, her nails marking her own. As she tried to cling to lucidity. The next few minutes merged into a nightmare of flashing lights and distant voices. The ambulance siren, the hospital's antiseptic smell, the tense faces of doctors, the stretcher running through corridors that seemed to have no end. Placenta detachment, life risk. P.D.L. Avers arrived stuffy, as if she were submerged in thick water. Then the blinding flash of the operating room, the cold of the metal against the skin, and then darkness. When Thais opened his eyes again, the world outside the window was already in the twilight the next day. Beside him, his mother was holding his hand, his puffy eyes with crying, the deeper face wrinkles than ever. Mom, her voice came out rough, as if she had swallowed sand. They are alive, my love. The mother squeezed her fingers tightly, the relief overflowing in tears. A boy and a girl, small, but doctors say they will be fine. They are in the incubator, under care. And Stephen. Thais didn't have to ask. The mother's silence was enough answer. He was here, finally confessed, lowering his eyes. He said he had things to solve and left. Thais closed his eyes. There was no surprise. There was not even anger. Just a cold emptiness, as if something inside it had been detached forever. He only appeared the next day, with an exaggerated bouquet and a guilty smile. Forgive me, honey. He kissed her forehead with a tenderness that sounded false. I shouldn't have pressured you. You were right. I behaved like an idiot. Thais watched him silently, as if he saw a stranger. The man before her was no longer the one for whom he had sworn eternal love. It was a ghost of bad choices, an echo of broken promises. Stephen, he said, his voice firmly despite the hands that trembled. I want the truth. He hesitated, his eyes running away from hers. The story of the startup swallowed hard. Not quite. Me and some friends really started a business, but lowered my head. I lost money. A lot of money. The air seemed to be thinned in the room. What? Thais already knew the answer, but I needed to hear it. Casino. Online poker. Confession came out as a poison. At first I won, then I tried to recover. Only sighed. Now I owe a fortune. My account is blocked. The collectors keep calling. That's why I fired myself. The number he quoted below made the stomach of Thais turning around. 3 times their annual salary. And did you think I should pay for it? His voice no longer trembled. It was a sharp ice. Why, your mother takes care of my children, and you, what do you do? Stephen, what do you do? I'll fix everything. I swear. He reached out to touch her, but she backed away as if she burned. Give me a chance. Did you give our family a chance? Her eyes burned, but tears didn't fall. For our children. Thais, please get out. The word exploded like a shot. I don't want to see you here, but what about the children? Get out. This time it was a scream, so loud that the nurse peeked through the door. Suspicious. Everything is fine? He asked, throwing a hostile look at Stephen. He's already leaving. Thais answered, without taking his eyes off the man who loved it one day. Stephen threw the bouquet on the bed like garbage and left, knocking the door hard enough to make the paintings tremble. The same night, when Thais finally could drag himself to the neonatal ICU and see his children for the first time, tiny, fragile, perfect mental arcade even beings appeared in the room like an unwanted shadow. Stephen told me everything, he announced, crossing his arms. Did you kick him out? Ties didn't even turn. He kept looking at the babies, sleeping under the blue lights of the incubators. It was an exaggeration. Ties. Men make mistakes, mistakes. The irony in his voice was a blade. He risked the future of my children. This is not a mistake. This is betrayal. Don't be dramatic. Mental arcade even snorted. Lost some money. So what? I will help with the kids. You go back to work. Everyone wins. Ties turned slowly, his eyes so cold that the other woman backed up instinctively. You knew. It was not a question. I knew the debts when it came here. Mental arcade silence. It was not your sentence. Of course I knew. Ties continued, the low and lethal voice. That's why you sold your apartment. Fear that the creditors arrived to him. Didn't he? You don't understand anything. The mother-in-law's voice went up, hysterical. I'm a mother. I protect my son. And Ties answered, calm down like the night before the storm. I'm a mother too, and I will protect my children. Even both of you. The happy reunion ended there. A week later, when Ties returned home with the twins, he found the door broken and the empty apartment, electronics, jewelry, even the baby clothes he had bought so fondly. But Ties didn't break. Changed the locks, sought a lawyer, and he found that. A whim of fate, or perhaps of intuition, the deed of the house was only in his name. Stephen had given up being Colette in the last minute, claiming bureaucratic problems. She took maternity leave, but wasted no time. He enrolled in online web design courses, an ancient passion that had never had the courage to pursue. Your mother moved to help her with the babies. 3 months later, he received his first freelance work. 6 months later, he already had fixed clients and an income that covered the mortgage and the expenses of the children. When Estevao and Mental arcade even knocked on her door with bags in her hand, smiling as if nothing had happened. Ties received them with calm that froze them to the marrow. We decided to give our family another chance, Estevao announced, the plastic smile not reaching the eye. And I'm going to help with the grandchildren, Mental arcade even added, as if it were a favor. After all, you work now. Need support. Ties said nothing. He just took his cell phone and turned the screen to them. See this button. His finger stopped over the police number. If they do not leave now, I will make a call. I have recordings of you admitting the theft. And Stephen's creditor smiled for the first time in months. I think they would be happy to know where to find it. Estevao's face paled. You wouldn't have the courage. Let's find out. She pressed her finger against the screen. They went out of stumbling, cursing, threatening, but never returned. 5 years passed. The children grew healthy, surrounded by laughter and security, without ever knowing their father, who never asked for them, never sent a real. Ties, the former housewife, became a respected professional, owner of a design studio that flourished every day. Until, on an ordinary afternoon, while seeking her children at school, a middle-aged woman, with deep dark circles and trembling hands, approached her. Are you Ties? He asked, hesitantly. Estevao Kurishkin's ex-wife. Yes. Ties crossed his arms, suspicious. And you? I'm Melina. The woman squeezed her bag against her chest, like a shield. Your current wife. A heavy silence fell between them. I don't know where to start, confessed Lena, the voice breaking. Maybe with an apology. Ties did not answer, just waited. He did to me the same one he did to you. Lena's eyes shone. First, it was attentive. Then the debt came, the money disappearing. The story is repeated. He smiled, bitter, and now paused, breathing deep. I am pregnant, and with fear. Fear of not getting it. As you did. Ties looked at that woman, worn, terrified, just as she was years ago. And then, for the first time in a long time, he felt something beyond anger or resentment. Sit down, he said, pointing to a bank in the park. Let's talk. The hardest thing is to take the first step, he finally said, with a calm that surprised herself. Believe that you are capable, because you are, and when the certainty is born inside you, nothing and no one will be able to stop you. Alina heard, her trembling fingers pressing the cup of coffee that Ties had bought for her. Hours passed there, in that park bench, dry leaves and the distant murmur. Ties talked about lawyers and clauses that Stefan would never imagine she knew. Given names, numbers, strategies. He explained how to turn vulnerability into strength, how to use the law to his advantage. He spoke of the online courses she had taken as pregnant, when the nights were feature films and the future, an uncertain shadow. You are not alone in this, you repeated, like a mantra. When they said goodbye, Lena held her hands with gratitude that didn't need words. You could have ignored me. It could have cursed me, called me naive, but you reached out to me. Ties just smiled, a smile that was not sweet but firm, like seasoned steel. Women need to support themselves, especially when the men around us are like Stefan. Months later, an email reached your inbox. Subject, thank you. Again, it was Alina, announcing that she had gotten rid of the poison of Stefan and her mother, who now dragged her debts and lies from city to city, always one step ahead of the creditors. But what Ties didn't expect was the rest. Alina had been hired by the same design agency where she worked, and not as an assistant, not as a cheap workmanship, as a competism, with a natural talent for turning words into arms or caresses, depending on what the project asked for. A year later, they sat together at a meeting that was not about customers, but about a dream, a platform, a space where single mothers could learn, rebuild, finding lawyers who did not judge them, psychologists who did not blame them, courses that made them go out of scratch with dignity. Because no one should go through what we go through, Lena said, her eyes shining no longer fear, but of a determination that Ties recognized as her own reflection. As for Stefan and Nino Arkadievna, the rumors came as distant echoes. He still bet the little he had. She still blamed the ungrateful wives for her son's failure. They lived in nozzles, favors, lies that no one believed anymore. But Ties no longer lost sleep with it. His life was now made of dull laughter at dinner, children who ran into their arms knowing that there was security there, projects that grew like well cared for seeds. She had become the queen she always knew it was, not for a day, not for a borrowed crown, always for. And now, looking at Alina, he saw that crowns are not inherited, they are conquered, one word at a time, one choice at a time, one woman at a time.